Through the fire, through the smoke.
All right, thank you all for coming back to watching part 2. And if you have not seen part 1, go ahead and go back and watch that first one. I think it would encourage a lot of people to know what God has created for us in heaven, the place that he has created for us, specifically designed for us. Now, I'm not going to make this one, my intro really long for this one, because you can just watch that in the first one. But like I said, this is going to be part 2. So after I had that first encounter, and again, this was in 2018. It was around, what was it? November or December. Now, I'm sorry that I could not actually pull up the specific date and notes because I lost it. It was in my phone, and I don't think that information transferred over to my new phone at that time, or saved. So I don't have any actual date that I can write down to say that it happened on this specific day. I just know the month. I believe it was November when I had this encounter. Now, like I said, this happened a few days after the first encounter that I had with the angel coming to me. Now, in this one, it happened extremely fast. I remember that I was praying, and I always pray at midnight or a little after midnight. That's just when I have the downtime to be able to just give me and God that personal time. So I always pray around the same time. I usually pray for 30 minutes to an hour. I do this all the time. Now, it takes a minute to get built up to this point. So if you're not praying that long, don't be discouraged. It took me time as well to actually get to this point to where I'm able to pray for a long period of time. So I was in worship, I was praying, and I was yearning for God. I was asking him to show me more, explain more to me, make these things known to me. I have ears to hear, and I have eyes to see what it is that he wants me to see and hear. Now, I ended up going to sleep. And when I fell asleep, I remember that I drifted. Now, I can't remember per se if I felt my soul leave my body or if my body was completely intact and I was just in this encounter. Now, what I can say is how it starts is I'm in this other dimension. Now, this dimension was another world. It was it was an other world. And the sky lit up with so many different colors. I can't even describe it because it was colors that were unknown to us. But it was almost like a rainbow, colorful kind of feel. Now, I'm looking up in amazement at the stars and everything that I'm seeing in this planet. And when I look down before me, I see that I am standing in front of something that looks like a courthouse. It looks like some type of government branch or something. Like, that's the only way that I can describe it in a more humanly, earthly form. It was like a courthouse. And so it's a huge walkway of steps. Now, I'm walking up this staircase, and as I'm walking up, I hear that there's a vehicle or some type of ship or spaceship or something that transported right at the steps. And I look back because I'm like, okay, who is this? And when I look at it, I didn't know who it was the first time. And he is a man that stepped out of his car. He was very well dressed. And what I'm describing as a car was not an actual car. It was some type of transportation type of vehicle. I don't know how to describe it. It looked very futuristic is the only way that I can say it. Now, he gets out of this thing, and this thing is alive, by the way. It's alive. It's moving. You can tell that it's breathing, or it's like pulsating something. And so he gets out of this living, breathing vehicle, and he starts to walk up the staircase. But he has something really mysterious about him spiritually. And I'm like, who is this man? Like, he looks really mysterious and kind of cunning. Like, I couldn't really tell. He had this smirk on his face and he's walking up the staircase. And like, again, it stopped me in my tracks because I'm looking at this person, like trying to like ask, who is this person? And he walks past me and he asked me if I could walk up the steps with him. And I honestly didn't know what to say because I didn't trust him. And he had his head down, like he had this hat on his head. And like I said, he wasn't trying to really show his face. So I didn't really know who it was. But he said, do you want to walk up the steps with me? And I was like, I don't know. I don't actually know. And when I did that, an angel opens up these two huge doors that are at the top inside of this place. And the angel comes up to me and he said, you need to come with me now. And so he grabs my hand and he takes me inside of the place. Now, the man that I was describing as mysterious and everything, he starts to walk behind me. And so when I turn around, he finally puts his head up and he had snake eyes and a snake tongue. And he starts to laugh as if he deceived me or as if he got me or something. And obviously I knew at that point, this is the devil. And he ends up having to walk to another part of this courthouse. And as I come inside, he's still walking slow and I'm still with the angel. And the angel said to me, he said, you have been appointed by God to have a meeting with him. And Satan, he starts to walk the other way. And so I heard a guard that was talking to Satan, and he also told Satan that he had an appointment with God. And again, we're walking in two separate directions. So he ends up going the other way to his appointment with God. Only God knows what that meeting was about. Pretty sure it was regarding one of his children that the enemy was deceiving. I'm not sure. So he goes the other way. I go the other way. Now, as we're walking, I realized that the person that I was walking with was the spirit of wisdom. And the only reason why I knew that was I looked at him and I could only see it was almost like, it was like an old soulful kind of spirit. And I can tell that they are very knowledgeable. And I never asked what the name was, but when you look at even the back of this being, it was like I knew exactly what the name was, and the name was Wisdom. And so as we're walking around, he said that he wanted to show me some things. And so I look around and I see that there is this beautiful place that I am standing in. It was marble floor. The walls were like this very beautiful wooden color. And I start to see that this place, there was a bunch of people. There were people there and they were all getting ready. They were all getting prepared for the big day. And I knew it. I just knew that that's what it was. I didn't even have to have him tell me what was this. I knew it. They were in a hurry. They were all rushing. I looked over and I saw a door. And everybody that was inside of this room, they were sewing together clothes and outfits. And we walk past and I see another room and I see Jesus is in this room and he's really happy and he's training and teaching this younger congregation to dance. There was a dance performance, a dance routine that they were coming up together with. There were a bunch of children. They were in ballerina outfits. It was so beautiful. Like everybody was so happy. Jesus was happy and he was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Like he was happy and he was training them on whatever this routine was. And I looked to the other room and there were women in this room and they were all getting their hair together. Since somebody else was already working on the outfits, like they were getting their hair together and how they were going to be looking on the big day. And one of the women actually pulled me in the room and she was really happy. And she was like, would you like to get your hair done? And I sit down because I'm really excited at this point now, but I realized that I was getting off course. Like I wasn't there I literally was living in the moment with them. Like I was getting prepared for this big day too. And so she pulls me down and she's like, come on, let me do your hair. And so there were a bunch of other women. They started trying to do my hair, and I was really happy and excited for this makeover that they were about to give me. And I was like, wait, I'm sorry. I was like, I gotta go. I'm like, I have an appointment with the Lord. So I get up, and Wisdom is still walking ahead. The spirit of wisdom never stopped. He just kept on walking. And so as he's walking, like I said, there were so many rooms and so many doors. It was almost like a college university or something. Like, there's dorm rooms that are right beside each other, and there's this huge hallway. Like, that's exactly how it looked, but I would just say way bigger in comparison to anything that we would ever imagine. That's literally how it was. And it was gorgeous. Like I said, marble floors, everything was just spick and span, beautiful. And so now we're walking to this door, and I'm really confused as to where we're going at this point. So two guardian angels, they open up these two big doors, and we start to walk inside of what looked to be like a library. Now, all I could see that there were a bunch of books. There were books on shelves everywhere. And I'm like wondering and questioning. I said, where are we? I was like, what is this place? And he didn't tell me anything, actually. In a split second of me asking this, I didn't even get to see it long before I transport to a pitch black room. Now, I can tell that where I was sitting somewhere on a chair or a bench or something. I can just literally only see pitch black. So I'm looking around like, where am I? And over in the right side of the corner of this huge place, I see Wisdom is standing over there. Now, this was the only light that I saw that was in the room. So I walk over to where Wisdom was, and I'm like trying to like feel around me until I get to the light to where I can see where I'm at. And I'm like, I said, where are we? And instantly a bunch of candle lights, they ignite in different sections of this place. And when I turn around, now it semi lit up the room. In just like certain areas, you can see where it was really lit up, and other lights were more so dim. And so I see that we're inside of a church building, and this church building, it was basically, it kind of looked normal in a sense, but again, this was all spiritual. So I'm only seeing what I can actually comprehend. So I asked Wisdom, what are these candles that I'm looking at here? What does this mean? And he turns to me and he said, you asked how the spiritual realm worked once before, and now I'm going to show you how it works. And so when I turn around again, I'm looking at, as I stated, candle lights that are sitting in the pews of these churches or this church. And I said, what does the candle represent? And Wisdom told me that this is how the spiritual realm looks, and this is what they see in the spiritual realm. He said some lights are really bright and some lights are really dim. And he said the enemy comes in to seek who he may devour. And in this time, there are only so many people that he's able to touch or able to destroy. But as I'm looking around and as he's explaining the enemy coming in, seeking whom he may devour, the enemy comes inside. Now, it was him and a legion full of demons, and they flooded the church. They flooded every pew. And what they did was, they're getting really close, and they looked, some of them looked like wolves, like werewolves, like really beast-like wolves, really disgusting, ugly. They looked horrible. And the other ones were more of a really dark shadow figure that I could not distinct. I couldn't really understand what it looked like. And the enemy is walking in as well, and he looks like a beast. He didn't look like what I saw before when he had the appointment with the Lord. Now he is a full-on-fledged beast, and he's really upset. You can tell that he had so much hate in his eyes, and he was just ready to blow out their lights. And so what he did was he went to each pew. him and the demons, they went to each pew and they started to huff and blow and try to blow out everyone's light. Now, the ones that were dim, their soul, their light, the light that was inside of them that was dim, everything represented everyone's spirit, their belief system. And if their belief system wasn't strong in the Lord, they were prone to that attack of the enemy. And the enemy took them. I literally saw after he blew out their light, he took their soul, and it was almost like they were blowing out lights, snatching the souls, and they were going back to wherever they came from. Now, for the people who had really bright lights, really bright candle lights, it was so bright that the enemy couldn't even put his hand near that person because it was like it burnt him. It was like it was too hot for him to get close to, and he would get so angry that he would start to scream. He was literally so angry, like, why can't I touch this person? Like, you could tell it was like bothering him. So he and all the rest of the legion of demons, they would try to hone in on this one candle to blow out this candle. Now, what I saw was they would try to blow it out. The wind of the candle would blow to one side, and then it would come back and it would be straight right. Now, anytime it blew, the light would get brighter and it would go up more. So imagine like a huge wick of a candle, and it's just going higher and higher every time the enemy tried to blow out this candle. And I didn't even need wisdom to describe this for me. I could see it for myself. And he gave me that knowledge to understand exactly what I was seeing at this point. And like I said, snatching souls from left and right, after he blew out their candle, after he blew out their faith, he would literally take their soul and drag them to hell. And I wondered at this point, where are they going? Like, they came through the doors of this church, and I wanted to know where they were going. So what happened was they actually started, wisdom actually came and he sat down on one of the benches. Now, when he sat on the bench, he said, in the spirit, I could feel that he was telling me to go out of the doors where I saw the enemy and the rest of the demons go to. So I went to the area. Now, I wasn't even scared, to be honest. Usually in encounters like this, I would be really scared. But I was so high on the Lord and the information that he was giving me that I was determined to see where they were going. So I walk outside of the church building, and I realized that we're still not even, like, we literally were in the same dimension. It was just going from one side to the next side. Like, that's how it was. So once you get out of the church, now you're in hell. And when I'm looking at hell, this place looked like black and white, almost, in a sense. It was like black and white. Now, what happened was, as everything is going on, I'm looking around, and this place looks like Gotham City. It looks like Gotham City from Batman, if anybody has ever seen it. And everything is like torn upside down. They're like what looks to be like vehicles that are upside down. Things are like smoking. I see many fires in certain areas. Everything was like rocky gravel kind of thing, like dirt and rocks everywhere. And so I'm stepping out of the church, and I see that, like I said, everything is black and white, and it's really black and gray. Like, that's how I can describe it, as black and gray. I'm even looking up to the sky, and it's an endless sky, and it's still this black and gray kind of color. And so I look over in the far off distance, and I see that there is this red color area. Like, this whole area is lit up, but the color is like a dark and dingy red color. And instantly when I think, what is that? Where is that place? My soul ends up teleporting to that spot and that destination. Now, as I'm inside of this red area, I'm looking around me, and I see that there is this huge gate that is before me, a huge gate. Like, gates that went all the way up to whatever sky this was. And there was a sign that was kind of floating at the top of it. And I couldn't even read what it was because I was standing like right under it. So I couldn't see what the sign said. But I knew I was at the gates of hell. That was more than clear to me where I was. And there is this, like, behind this huge gate, there is this castle-like place. It's like a palace, but this is really dark and dingy. Like, this place looks like it's falling apart. It looks horrible, but you can tell that this is a kingdom, a castle of some sort. And like I said, I'm standing at the gates of this place. And so I back up. And as I'm backing up, because at this point I'm looking up because I'm trying to see what this wording is or what it means. And as I'm backing up, my back ends up hitting what felt like a rock. And so I turn around to see what exactly it was that I just hit. And there is this huge golden statue that is very tall. And when I tried to get in front of it, I realized that there was like this engraved writing on it. And it looked like it said, in Buddha we trust, or something. It was something like, in Buddha we trust, or I don't know. That's all I could really remember from it. It was in somebody they trust. And I look up and I realize that I'm looking at a statue of Buddha. And it's a golden statue. Now, I've never seen this statue before. I even had to do my research, and I actually found a statue that looked exactly like the one that I saw. Now, this was after I woke up when I researched it, but when I was in it, I'm like, why is there a statue in hell? Why is there a statue of Buddha at that in hell? I did not understand it. But actually, when I can think about it, this isn't the first time that I've encountered Satan transforming into Buddha, or transforming into the religion of Buddhism. And so it started to make sense to me, but that part was more so still not really understandable to me. Yeah, I'm really not sure about why that was there, especially right by the gates of hell. Now, what I did realize was when I looked up, because at this point I'm like, I'm just ready to go. Like, I'm ready to get out of here. I'm over seeing all this stuff. And when I look up, I see that there are portals that are literally like literally in every single part of the sky. The sky is opening up for a split second, it's closing, and there's portals. Now, every portal that opened up, there were demons that were coming out of these portals, and I could see that there were souls that they had in their hands in chains, and they were dragging them through the gates of hell to go inside of that castle. Now, as this is happening, the only thing that I could really see to make out what these demons looked like was death. They looked like death. These were like Grim Reaper looking kind of demons, with the whole staff and everything. And they're literally dragging these people from the portal to go to hell. And they're coming out of the gates and they're going back through the gates. And it was literally like a continuous cycle of portals opening and closing. And it sounded like lightning or thunder every time this was happening. And so at this point, I'm scared because I'm like, okay, let me get out of here. Like, I've seen enough. I need to go. So as I'm thinking of getting out, I literally teleport back to where the doors of the church was. And literally before I could even touch the door, Wisdom opens up the door and he looks at me and he said it was time to go. And so I woke up from that encounter as well. Now, like I said, I know this was going to be really lengthy and everything, but thank you all for watching. Thank you all for going through this journey with me. I hope that everyone stays encouraged because people don't understand the power of faith. They don't understand the power that we hold through Christ Jesus. When we have faith in the Lord will protect you. He will keep you and he will guide you if you only have faith in him. And when you have faith in the Lord, that prevents the enemy from being able to blow out your candle, to blow out your light. And after I woke up from this, I told my family members about it because I'm like, I really didn't even understand what this meant. And it actually had a lot of reverence to the book of Revelation, where they talk about the candles and the lights of the candles. Now, I encourage you all to go ahead and just read up on Revelation if you feel like you don't really believe me or anything like that. But I'm not going to put anything on this channel that the Lord has not, guided me to go ahead and post. So this was the 2 encounters that he told me to post. I hope you all are blessed with this message. I hope that you all, stay encouraged through the war that we are going through right now. We are going through an endless war, a spiritual war, and everyone that is a warrior in Christ, do not be afraid of man. You need to step forward and do what the Lord tells you all to do during this time, because we are running out of time. Now, thank you all for watching this, and God bless.